Hi, everyone. So today I want to talk about a facet of my work that is very often something that makes people uncomfortable, and it is creative finagling. So if you want to change your career, you have to think creatively about the tools and the skills and the resources that you already have, okay? People kind of waste a lot of time when they're in the process of transition, getting hung up on oh, I need to get so many other certifications before I can get started, or I need to go, do all these other things before I can even get started. I have to become an expert in this other separate thing before I can even get started. And the truth is that you already have everything you need to get started. You already have inside of you the things that you need to get started and allow the awards and the certifications and the what have yous to come naturally, as a natural progression of you being on your new journey. Where people get hung up on this is feeling like they're stepping outside of their integrity in order to tell their story in a different way. And I understand that. And the thing that I always want to be clear about is I believe in integrity. I believe in staying fully in your integrity as you tell a new story about yourself. And there's two ways that I do this. First of all, it's easy to get hung up on the what. People feel like what I've done so far isn't enough. What I've done so far is not impressive to, people in this other industry that I'm trying to get into. Okay, so the first step to creatively finagling that story is stop telling the what story and start telling the why story. Why did you do those things? What were the underlying values and passions that led you to make those choices, that led you to get that degree, that led you to make, a certain move, a certain career choice? Start telling the why story. The second thing is people very often get in their heads about the negatives, the things that are working against them in their career transition. And one of the things that I ask people to do is go ahead and tell me in rich detail, what are the things that are getting in your way? What are the things that you're telling yourself, I can't make this transition because of X, Y, and Z? And there are a whole variety of reasons, some of them that seem on the surface insurmountable obstacles. And here's the thing. In addition to these big things, we are all carrying with us little things, little imperfections that when we're in our head telling ourselves, the pros and cons list of why someone might not hire us. I don't show up on time. I'm not maybe a great collaborator. Maybe you're self-aware enough to know that you tend to be a micromanager or something like that. Here's the thing. First of all, I encourage people, don't hide from the negative stuff. Don't hide from the things that you feel insecure about. Let's go ahead and make a list. And the second thing is, let's realize that all the things on this list are a flip side of something positive. So if you show up late frequently, if being on time is not your forte, I share that one. That's why this example comes to mind easily for me. That is a flip side of being someone who's very committed to the present moment. Sometimes we can feel worried to go deeper on the negatives, on the cons, on our pros and cons list, because we're afraid of what we'll find. It's easy to start telling ourselves a story that I'm not on time for things. That's because I'm irresponsible. That's because, I'm not good at adulting or whatever it is. That's not true. That's not true at all. I am great at adulting, guys. The flip side of naturally not being a naturally punctual person is I'm committed to this current moment. So that means sometimes my coaching calls run a little bit long. Sometimes my, introductory calls with new clients run a little bit long. I like getting to know people. I like talking with people and being committed to that present moment. If I'm headed out the door to an improv rehearsal and my son needs me to be the one that puts exactly 2 ice cubes in his cup and give him a quick snuggle before I'm out the door, that's important to me. I'm okay with being committed to this present moment. That's a good thing. Drill down on the positive flip side of whatever's on your cons list. But then the other half of this is not being afraid to own in full integrity and in full self-awareness where there are opportunities for growth and improvement. So often, even the big things, even the real big scary things that are on a cons list, if we can find a way to own it in full integrity and talk about the why and talk about what that's ultimately about in a way that says, you know what, I have explored this and I'm not going to hide from it. There is a way to build. There is something really powerful that happens, a really powerful point of connection. Because often these things that are on the cons list, are not that big of a deal. Even if they're a big deal, they may not be as big of a deal as we make them seem in our heads. But the important thing is that self-awareness. So maybe not being punctual all the time isn't that big of a deal, but not being coachable, not being able to identify where there are opportunities for growth, that is a big deal. So if people can sense that, you're not willing to have an honest conversation about the cons, then that is the thing that's a big deal. Does that make sense? So your homework, if you are trying to figure out how to move forward and you feel afraid of creative finagling, these are my 2 pieces of advice. One is start focusing on the why story instead of the what story. And the second thing is notice the negative things that we tell ourselves. Notice the things that you would put in the cons list if you were the one trying to decide whether or not to hire you. Flip it around. What is that the flip side of? Drill down into how can I own the positive other side of this thing? And then as you notice, yes, there are opportunities for growth and self-improvement. We all have those. Own that in full integrity and authenticity. Don't feel like you need to sidestep your opportunities for growth. So please feel free to reach out with any questions. There is room for you on my calendar. I still do have some December availability for those of you who know that 2019 has big things in store for you and you're trying to figure out how can I get to where I want to be. There is room for people that want to begin the Fearless Growth track. There's room for you on my calendar and I would love to talk with you. So schedule a 30-minute strategy call. We'll see if the Fearless Growth track or maybe one of the online programs is a good fit. And I will be sending you so much positivity because I believe in you, I believe in the work that you're doing, and making a big change is totally possible. All right, I look forward to talking with you and have a great week. Bye.